Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Traveling yesterday, so getting to a little later breaking news as the Oklahoma Sooners gain a sneaky good asset through the transfer portal. Obviously, kind of a weird one coming from Oklahoma State, the cross-state rivalry. But Tace Ford committing to the Sooners. I think this is a very, very big get for what Brent Venables wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, and he's a guy that's coming into his fifth year of college football. He's been productive for three out of those 4 years, obviously being hurt in 2021. And when you look at what Brent Venables wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, it is about defensive line, creating havoc, getting after the passer, and being able to stop the run. A couple of things that Oklahoma really did not do very well under Brent Venables in his first year tenure in Norman. Now, before we get into the player, I just want to say thank you guys for the support you guys have shown, especially the Sooner fans. We've been talking a lot of Oklahoma football, been kind of on the Brent Venables hype train. Whether you like him or don't like him, I think it's a very, very exciting hire in Norman. I think he's the perfect guy to lead Oklahoma to the SEC. And yes, you had some growing pains, but again, this is a very, very exciting program and kind of projection of where they are going, obviously bringing a top 5 class. And so, long story short, if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing. We really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown, especially the Sooner fans. Let's get into Tace Ford, what he brings to the program. So Tace Ford is a guy that he's played a lot of football. Obviously started for 3 years. As a true freshman, he's been on my radar. Very, very impressive true freshman year. Pretty sure 4 sacks, 4.5 tackles for a loss. What he does, I think Oklahoma really struggled with. Having defensive linemen who can be very good against the run, but also give you a lot of value in rushing the passer. I don't know if he comes in and starts right away, because if Reggie Grimes stays, I like Reggie Grimes, I like Ethan Downs. But it's very important to have a deep, deep defensive line. That's what they've always had at Clemson under Brent Venables. When that defense was elite for Clemson, they had 8 to 10 guys they could just cycle in, put at different spots on that defensive line, and create havoc on the quarterback. I don't think Oklahoma quite had that depth. And I think that's why you're seeing Brent Venables hammer the transfer portal and get guys that he thinks will fit his defense. Because at the end of the day, the defense Brent Venables wants to run versus what Alex Grinch wanted to run, very, very different. And you're using Alex Grinch's personnel with Brent Venables' style of defense. And I think you saw kind of a little bit of a mismatch and some growing pains. And now Brent Venables attacking the transfer portal, throwing a lot of scholarships at the 2023 class, and he's going to get the personnel he wants to have in. And I'm really excited to see how this Oklahoma defense develops under Brent Venables. Obviously, after a very, very tough year of growing pains. Now, talking about Tace Ford, very good pass rusher. He has very good bend around the edge, but he's also very strong in setting the edge in the run game as well. He gets behind the line of scrimmage. And again, whether he starts or not, I don't think is relatively important, because he's going to play a lot of football, assuming he's healthy in 2023. He's a guy that's played a lot. He's a veteran dude, and he's going to add, if anything, depth. Now, that being said, I think his upside is like first, second team, all Big 12 guy, all SEC guy. I think he's a very, very good football player. Whether he starts over Ethan Downs or Reggie Grimes on that edge, not really sure, but he's going to add a lot of value. Now, I want to take a look at this 2023 transfer portal class, because I think Brent Venables is putting a lot of emphasis on getting guys into the program that he wants. He took over a roster that wasn't necessarily his guys, not really playing the style of defense that he wanted to play. And you're getting a couple of guys that I want to talk about. And obviously it starts with Desan McCullough coming over from Indiana. 2 things to get excited about Desan McCullough. One, as a true freshman at Indiana, extremely, extremely productive. He has 4 years of eligibility left. And he's one of those players that I don't know necessarily what they're going to work him in for. He was very good at rushing the passer as an edge guy, but he's also very good in space. And he's not that big, 225 pounds. But when you see a guy produce at that level as such a young kid at the college football level, that's a very, very exciting get. But you're seeing them kind of hammer that defensive line too. When you look at some of the other guys they brought in, Jacob Lacey coming from Notre Dame, I think Brent Venables was a little disappointed with not only the defensive line play, but the depth of that defensive line. And when you're playing in the Big 12 and you're playing a lot of snaps on the field, a lot of offenses run fast, it's vital to have guys, kind of like when you look at that Clemson defense, 8 to 10 guys you can cycle in. Again, these guys are 260 to 300 pounds. They need breathers. And I don't think Oklahoma quite had that depth. And that's why they struggled in the run game, allowing almost 4.5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. And not a very uncharacteristic like box score when you look at the stats for this Oklahoma defense under Brent Venables. Now, Brent Venables is used to having multiple guys on the defensive line having double-digit tackles for loss, double-digit sacks. That's what he kind of prides himself on, is getting negative plays, creating havoc on the quarterback, and creating turnovers. A little bit more of an aggressive style where, yeah, you might give up the big play, but we're going to try to smother you on defense. And that's kind of different from what Alex Grinch tried to do. In a much more bend but don't break, we're going to let you go 80 yards and we're going to try to hold you to 3 in the red zone. Brent Venables doesn't want to do that, and I think you saw some growing pains kind of coming from that. Now, some other guys that I'm very excited in the portal, they've addressed the defensive line, Deshaun McCall, Jacob Lacey, now Tace Ford. Austin Stockton coming back to Norman. I think a lot of fans are excited about that. He's been such a good tight end for Oklahoma. Transferred to South Carolina for a year. I think they're really going to enjoy having kind of a bigger body guy, especially if Dylan Gabriel, working the middle of the field, big catch radius. And then if you hold on to Marvin Mims and he doesn't declare for the draft, I think that's also a very, very big win. And you look at what Oklahoma is trying to do, and this last guy, Reggie Pearson, a relatively young Oklahoma secondary, I think struggled with the amount of pressure Oklahoma wanted to bring on the quarterback, kind of leaving some of their safeties and cornerbacks on islands. Getting a veteran guy who's played at Wisconsin, who's played at Texas Tech, who's been productive for years at the college football level. You're getting a veteran guy that kind of balances out a relatively young secondary. Him and Billy Bowman in the back end, I'm really excited to see what those two can bring because they're both very physical and they fly around the football field. And then in the 2023 class, you're bringing in a lot of talent. I think Brent Venables is specifically hitting the transfer portal so hard, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was the last one, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because I think there was just he didn't have the kind of players that he wanted to run his defense. And what's the fastest way you can get immediate talent and immediate impact players? Yes, you can recruit a good 2023 class, but even some of those high 4 and 5 stars might need a year of development. When you go to the transfer portal, especially this year, you look at the top 100 guys in the transfer portal. I mean, almost all of those guys are Power 5 level dudes. 2 or 3 years ago, you're looking at the transfer portal, maybe there's 20, maybe 30 guys who are starting on a Power 5 team. Not this year. It's loaded with talent. And Brent Venables is looking at that and saying, we got to get some immediate impact players in now. And Tace Ford is kind of a guy that, yeah, whether he starts or not, he's going to add immediate value to this Oklahoma Sooners defense. I don't think this will be the last time Brent Venables goes to the portal. Maybe it's the last time for the winter session, but after spring ball, when more guys may transfer from Oklahoma, more guys hit the portal from other schools, Brent Venables is going to take a long look at some of the talent that's left in the transfer portal and get some more guys in specifically on that defensive side of the ball, which is, it's a young defense. And being able to go to the transfer portal and get a veteran like Tace Ford, get a veteran like Reggie Pearson, I think it's going to mean a lot for this Oklahoma Sooners team. And this is a really hard team not to get excited about. I know it's a disappointing 6-6 season, but Brent Venables, I'm confident will get this team heading in the right direction. He's bringing in the talent to do so. Very, very exciting program. And again, wanted to keep it short, but did want to talk about Tace Ford because I do think he's going to be a playmaker for the Sooners in 2023. If you guys did enjoy the content, again, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys for real, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.